Hey everybody, Tolbert here coming at you with the lesson for Wednesday, April the 1st. Happy April Fool's Day. We coming up with a quick April Fool's joke, but you have to stay in your home for another 6 weeks, so that's a joke enough. Uh, Big thing today, scientific revolution. Got my timer going. Keep this thing under 15 minutes. Um, and then I'll show you what your activity is after that. We'll kind of blow through scientific revolution really quickly. Um, so that we can get into exploration tomorrow and we can start working on a project that'll go in as a project grade, but you'll have like 3 days to work on it. So, scientific revolution, we got about 150 years between 1550 and 1700 in which this is going on. And basically, this is the time period in which people are trying to recover from the Middle Ages again, but in a scientific way. We mentioned yesterday about how the Protestant Reformation was challenges to the church and trying to move on from stuff. And we've kind of got the same thing going on here with the scientific revolution. Sorry, I'm getting a call from the school district. I'll just mute that. All right, so to get through it really quickly, the Renaissance, the rebirth, is going to be really a time period of learning, and it's going to get people to start questioning things. We're going to ultimately end on one of my favorite quotes, in which is trying to get that questioning of everything, and then with that questioning, there's a bunch of new theories that are going to develop. Like, for example, how do we know exactly how much weight a ship can carry? How do we know how we can get from point A to point B faster? All these little things that we can Google today and find the answers. Well, back in the day, they had to invent the answers. And so that's a big thing. Most important thing that they're going to look at, ladies and gentlemen, is the idea of natural law. Natural law is laws that are naturally already around us. They exist, they can be explained. We know they're there, but we've got to figure out why they're there and how they're holding everything together. We're going to talk about gravity here in just a little bit, but even things with tides, even things with, when you're in the ocean and the tide carries you a little bit, where exactly are you going to be? How do you know that you're moving in a particular direction when you're going somewhere? I know in my car, it's nice and easy. I can look up at the rear view mirror and it says I'm going north, or I can look at Google Maps. But how can we look at those forces that control us and find some stuff out about it in a time in which the answers aren't easily given to us? So there's a few major people that we got to talk about and things that they developed. Nicholas Copernicus, Italian dude, is the first, and this guy is the first to say that we have a heliocentric universe. Helio means sun, centric means center. So he's the guy that invented the fact that the sun is at the middle of our universe and that we are traveling around it. He started looking at the position of where um, Mercury and Venus were in comparison to Earth, and he realized that it wasn't the same on a daily basis. And a lot of people were thinking that the Earth was at the center of the universe because everybody thinks the world revolves around them. That's a drum kit. I'm going crazy. It's okay. Um, but what he looked at was the fact that the sun is at the center of the universe and that we all rotate around it. And he's able to do so with some stuff from like Galileo, who really made improvements to the telescope. Back in the day, it used to be like a quote unquote kid's telescope where you kind of make a ring around your eye like that helps you see something better. Well, he started putting zooms in by taking lenses and putting them at angles, right? Usually it would just be one lens or two lenses, but it would magnify what you're looking at so that you can look at it better. And because of Galileo, he was able to support Copernicism because of the ways that they looked at planets, their position, how they were rotating, and everything in comparison to where the sun is. And he also did a lot of other astrological things, um, mapping out star charts in the sky so that you can like maintain direction and everything else, so on and so forth. And then we get to Isaac Newton, one of the more famous. He came up with the natural law of gravity, right? Story goes, sitting underneath a tree, apple hits him on top of the head. Rather than getting mad about getting hit on the top of the head with an apple, he started looking at why does that apple fall down and hit me on the head and not move in another direction? How does it move at the same speed as something else? Right. Um, and really, I'm not going to bore you with like all the different theories of motion, which Isaac Newton is responsible for. If we were in the classroom, I have a demonstration with like a rugby ball and a tennis ball and a golf ball. But um, really, it's just the idea that we're not floating anywhere. Gravity keeps us exactly centered where we are. And that's how we're able to walk around and move. But gravity can change depending on different situations and moving to different planets and having different everything else. But that's the main law that's governing us. And he's able to prove this. I mean, I could pick up my phone and drop it here on the table. It's going to drop at that same speed consistently, right? I could take another phone and I can hold it right next to it and do exactly the same thing. And guess what? They're going to fall at exactly the same speed at the same time. All right. And with that, Newton is able to study optics and color and the idea that blow your mind now that you're sitting inside. Color doesn't exist. Color is completely made up. Color is how light reflects off of an object. That's how people are colorblind because the light's not reflecting right for their lens and their cornea and the light receptive parts of their eyes. So he starts looking at optics and he's able to put that into a reflective telescope so that we can actually legitimately start looking at planets and getting some stuff figured out. And that's some pretty mind-blowing stuff. You know, I imagine some of you are laughing and thinking that I'm making it up and that color's not really real, just like time isn't real and love isn't real, but legitimately, color's not real. It's reflection. It's how light reflects off an object. The color of the shirt you're wearing right now isn't really a color. It's just how the light around you reflects off the fabric that they chose to use to make the shirt. Boom, mind blowing. Rene Descartes. Only thing I'm going to say about him is this quote down here at the bottom. I think, therefore I am. Right. This is the thing that's going to push the scientific revolution. If you're not thinking, you're not living. That's one thing that you have the ability to do to really push yourself forward, right? Something exists only if it's proven to exist. This is that drive, right? Sometimes you see people and they just have a drive in school or they have a drive to learn about a particular thing. That is the drive that is found in the scientific revolution. We have to explain things. We have to get everything figured out as good as we possibly can. All right. So, last little bit, guys, the effects of the scientific revolution. Skepticism. People start questioning things, independent reasoning. It's okay to question things. It's actually better if you question things because then you can actually figure out why something exists the way it does or prove that it's wrong, right? It does challenge the power of the Catholic Church, right? Which is, and guys, this and the Protestant Reformation are happening at exactly the same time. That's why the Catholic Church takes the blow during the Protestant Reformation, because it challenges everything that the Pope had been telling them for quite some time. People stop believing in magic. Oh, it's just magic that this happened. Imagine, it's 500 years ago, you don't know what's going to happen, and all of a sudden a solar eclipse happens. Must be magic. There must be a witch somewhere that cursed us. No, it's just the fact that the moon is moving in between the sun and us right now. And then people start questioning what's the role of human? What are we to do? Why is all this going on? And that's a question that I believe people are still asking themselves in 2020, especially since they're stuck inside their house and have zero people to talk to. All right, me included. All right, so that's everything with the notes. Make sure we get that. That's going to be on the same page as your Protestant Reformation notes. We're just going to put those together. I've got that in haiku right here. Once I find my cursor, okay, my cursor. Okay, that's weird. There it is. All right, I think I locked it earlier on. Okay, so all that's going to be on page 14. with the Protestant Reformation notes. And then we've seen one of these before, guys, the Scientific Revolution reading. Um, Pretty straightforward. There are 3 columns. The column on the left is a reading for you to read about the scientific revolution, any and everything that you would need to know about it. Right here in the middle is going to be, excuse me, um, different words that are bolded over here that you may not know what they are. It's got them defined in the middle. And then over there in the far right column is going to be the questions that you need to answer. There are 7 in total, and then 1 question down there at the bottom. If you guys would put your responses in your own separate Google Doc, and then you are going to submit it right here underneath the Scientific Revolution reading. A few quick updates, you guys. Grades, I'm going to start typing them in tomorrow. If you've not been doing stuff, you're going to see that as an incomplete in the grade book. So look for that stuff coming out and look for me contacting people who are a bit behind. I've been asked this question a few times today. Can I do stuff that was due like last week and I still haven't done it? Yes, absolutely. Do all the work. Get caught up on all of it. Work at your own pace. Get it done. Get it in there. Okay. We will start seeing that pop into the grade book here soon. I still do not have information on when quarter 3 is going to end or anything else. Okay. If you've got any other general questions, guys, hit me up. I'm sitting at 11 minutes right now, so this is going up on YouTube. I'll send you a remind here in just a minute. But if you got any questions, send me a message on Remind, hit me up with an email, and have a good Wednesday.